Headquarters stations. Famous message, air raid Pearl Harbor. Pfize's not drill, NB-16, was sent from the headquarters of Patrol Wing 2, the first senior Hawaiian command to respond. American servicemen were caught unprepared by the attack. Ammunition lockers were locked, aircraft parked wingtip to wingtip in the open to prevent sabotage. 105 guns unmanned, none of the Navy's 5 forward/38s, only a quarter of its machine guns, and only 4 of 31 Army batteries got in action. 105. Despite this low alert status, many American military personnel responded effectively during the attack. NB-17, Ensign Joseph Torsieg Jr., aboard Nevada, commanded the ship's anti-aircraft guns and was severely wounded but continued to be on post. Lieutenant Commander F.J. Thomas commanded Nevada in the captain's absence and got her underway until the ship was grounded at 9:10 a.m. 107, one of the destroyers, Aylwin, got underway with only 4 officers aboard, all ensigns. City Army Base Navy Base Attack Targets. 1. USS California. 2. USS Maryland. 3. USS Oklahoma. 4. USS Tennessee. 5. USS West Virginia. 6. USS Arizona. 7. USS Nevada. 8. USS Pennsylvania. 9. Ford Island NAS. 10. Highcam Field. Ignored infrastructure targets. A. Oil storage tanks. B. Sinkpok Headquarters Building. C. Submarine Base. D. Navy Yard. None with more than a year's sea duty. She operated at sea for 36 hours before her commanding officer managed to get back aboard. 108. Captain Mervyn Bennion, commanding West Virginia, led his men until he was cut down by fragments from a bomb which hit Tennessee, moored alongside. 109. Second wave composition. The second planned wave consisted of 171 planes, 54 B-5Ns, 81 D-3As, and 36 A-6MS commanded by Lieutenant Commander Shigekizu Shimazaki. 95. 4 planes failed to launch because of technical difficulties. 68. This wave and its targets also comprised 3 groups of planes: SAD Smiley 95, 1 ST Group 54 B-5Ns armed with 550-pound, 249 kilograms, and 132-pound, 60 kilograms, general-purpose bombs, 96. 27 B-5Ns aircraft and hangars on Kamiah, Ford Island, and Barbers Point. 27 B-5Ns hangars and aircraft on Highcam Field. Second group, targets, aircraft carriers and cruisers, 78 D-3As armed with 550-pound, 249 kilograms, general-purpose bombs in 4 sections, 3 aborted. Third group, targets, aircraft at Ford Island, Highcam Field, Wheeler Field, Barbers Point, Kamiah, 35 A-6MS for defense and strafing, 1 aborted. The second wave was divided into 3 groups. 1 was tasked to attack Neo, the rest Pearl Harbor proper. The separate sections arrived at the attack point almost simultaneously from several directions. American casualties and damage. Arizona during the attack. Nevada, on fire and down at the bow, attempting to leave the harbor before being deliberately beached. West Virginia was sunk by 6 torpedoes and 2 bombs during the attack. A destroyed Vindicator at Ua Field, a victim of one of the smaller attacks on the approach to Pearl Harbor. 90 minutes after it began, the attack was over. 2,008 sailors were killed and 710 others wounded. 218 soldiers and airmen, who were part of the Army prior to the independent United States Air Force in 1947, were killed and 364 wounded. 109 Marines were killed and 69 wounded, and 68 civilians were killed and 35 wounded. In total, 2,403 Americans were killed, and 1,178 were wounded. 18 ships were sunk or run aground, including 5 battleships. 111. All of the Americans killed or wounded during the attack were legally non-combatants, given that there was no state of war when the attack occurred. 112. 113 of the American fatalities, nearly half were due to the explosion of Arizona's forward magazine after it was hit by a modified 16-inch, 410mm shell. NB18, author Craig Nelson wrote that the vast majority of the U.S. sailors killed at Pearl Harbor were junior enlisted personnel. The officers of the Navy all lived in houses and the junior people were the ones on the boats, so pretty much all of the people who died in the direct line of the attack were very junior people, Nelson said. So everyone is about 17 or 18 whose story is told there. 114. Among the notable civilian casualties were 9 Honolulu Fire Department, HFD, firefighters who responded to Highcamp Field during the bombing in Honolulu, becoming the only fire department members on American soil to be attacked by a foreign power in history. Fireman Harry Tuck Lee Pang of Engine 6 was killed near the hangars by machine gun fire from a Japanese plane. Captains Thomas Macy and John Carrera of Engine 4 and Engine 1 respectively died while battling flames inside the hangar after a Japanese bomb crashed through the roof. An additional 6 firefighters were wounded from Japanese shrapnel. Few wounded later received Purple Hearts, originally reserved for service members wounded by enemy action. While partaking in armed conflicts, for their peacetime actions that day on the 13th of June, 1944, the 3 firefighters killed did not receive theirs until the 7th of December, 1984, at the 43rd anniversary of the attack. This made the 9 men the only non-military firefighters to receive such an award in U.S. history. 115. This message denotes the first U.S. ship St. Louis to clear Pearl Harbor. National Archives and Records Administration note that this is in answer to question is channel clear, and faint writing at bottom concerning the answer being held until St. Louis had successfully cleared. Already damaged by a torpedo and on fire amidships, Nevada attempted to exit the harbor. She was targeted by many Japanese bombers as she got underway and sustained more hits from 250-pound, 113 kilograms, bombs, which started further fires. She was deliberately beached to avoid blocking the harbor entrance. California was hit by 2 bombs and 2 torpedoes. The crew might have kept her afloat, but were ordered to abandon ship just as they were raising power for the pumps. Burning oil from Arizona and West Virginia drifted down on her and probably made the situation look worse than it was. The disarmed target ship Utah was holed twice by torpedoes. West Virginia was hit by 7 torpedoes, the 7th tearing away her rudder. Oklahoma was hit by 4 torpedoes, the last 2 above her belt armor, which caused her to capsize. Maryland was hit by 2 of the converted 16 shells, but neither caused serious damage. Although the Japanese concentrated on battleships, the largest vessels present, they did not ignore other targets. The light cruiser Helena was torpedoed, and the concussion from the blast capsized the neighboring mine layer Oglala. 2 destroyers in dry dock, Cassin and Downs, were destroyed when bombs penetrated their fuel bunkers. The leaking fuel caught fire, flooding the dry dock. In an effort to fight fire made the burning oil rise, and both were burned out. Cassin slipped from her keel blocks and rolled against Downs. The light cruiser Raleigh was holed by a torpedo. The light cruiser Honolulu was damaged but remained in service. The repair vessel Vestal, moored alongside Arizona, was severely damaged and beached. The seaplane tender Curtis was also damaged. The destroyer Shaw was badly damaged when 2 bombs penetrated her forward magazine. 116 of the 402 American aircraft in Hawaii, 188 were destroyed and 159 damaged, 155 of them on the ground. 18. Almost none were actually ready to take off to defend the base. 8 Army Air Forces pilots managed to get airborne during the attack, 117, and 6 were credited with downing at least 1 Japanese sea aircraft during the attack. First Lieutenant Louis M. Sanders, Second Lieutenant Philip M. Rasmussen, 2 ND Lieutenant Kenneth M. Taylor, Second Lieutenant George S. Welsh, Second Lieutenant Harry W. Brown, and 2 ND Lieutenant Gordon H. Sterling Jr., 118, 119, of 33 PBYs in Hawaii, 30 were destroyed and 3 on patrol at the time of the attack returned undamaged. Friendly fire brought down some U.S. planes on top of that, including 4 from an inbound flight from Enterprise. 120, at the time of the attack, 9 civilian aircraft were flying in the vicinity of Pearl Harbor. Of these, 3 were shot down. 121, Japanese losses. "55 Japanese airmen and 9 submariners were killed in the attack, and 1, Keiichiro Sakamaki, was captured. Of Japan's 414-95 available planes, 350 took part in the raid, in which 29 were lost, 9 in the first wave, 3 fighters, 1 dive bomber, and 5 torpedo bombers, and 20 in the second wave, 6 fighters and 14 dive bombers, 122 NB-19, with another 74 damaged by anti-aircraft fire from ground. Possible third wave. According to some accounts, several Japanese junior officers including Fuida and Janda urged Nagimoto carry out a third strike in order to sink more of the Pearl Harbor's remaining warships, and damaged the base's maintenance shops, dry dock facilities, and oil tank yards. 49. Most notably, Fuida gave a first-hand account of this meeting several times after the war. However, some historians have cast doubt on this and many other of Fuida's later claims, which sometimes conflict with documented historic records. 123. Janda, who opined during the planning for the attack that without an invasion 3 strikes were necessary to fully disable the Pacific Fleet. 124. Denied requesting an additional attack. 125. Regardless, it is undisputed that the captains of the other 5 carriers in the task force reported they were willing and ready to carry out a third strike. Soon after the second returned, 126. But Nagimo decided to withdraw for several reasons. American anti-aircraft performance had improved considerably during the second strike, and 2/3 of Japan's losses were incurred during the second wave. 127. Nagimo felt if he launched a third strike, he would be risking 3/4 of the combined fleet strength to wipe out the remaining targets, which included the facilities, while suffering higher aircraft losses. 127. The location of the American carriers remained unknown. In addition, the admiral was concerned his force was now within range of American land-based bombers. 127. Nagimo is uncertain whether the U.S. had enough surviving planes remaining on Hawaii to launch an attack against his carriers. 128. A third wave would have required substantial preparation and turnaround time, and would have meant returning planes would have had to land at night. At the time, only the Royal Navy had developed night carrier techniques, so this was a substantial risk. 129. The first two waves had launched the entirety of the combined fleet's air strength. A third wave would have required landing both the first and second wave before launching the first wave again. Compare Nagumo's situation in the Battle of Midway, where